Sorry again.
Thank
There we
you.
go.
Thank
Got to
you.
start over
Sorry,
again.
I didn't realize that
It's
that
okay.
was part of it. Thank you.
Hi, so this is a proposal for Cultural Affairs, the committee. The chair is Karen Sorrell, Peggy Velasco, Abby Velasco. I spoke with Beeman Park and they're proposing two dates, one for the spring and one for the summer. In the spring, it will be on Wednesday, April 13th. It would start at 6 p.m. The event would start at 6 p.m., but the movie would start at 8 p.m. For Saturday, it's the same time. The event would start at 6 p.m. and the movie would start at 8 p.m. This is the layout in which the white circles, they mean is a designated area per family. So that's what the limitation, I think, in terms of space and to maintain social distancing. It will be from 100 to up to 150. More than 150 guests, it's not going to be allowed just because of social distancing and just to keep everybody safe. So this is something new, policy, the parks policy, and the intent is to keep everybody safe. So Beeman Park ideally would like to host a movie. When I spoke with them, they were going to take care of the movie, the film, the licensing, and the equipment. However, as of today, January 11th at 4 o'clock, I found out that they are no longer partnering with LA Films. So if we want to host that event, then we would also have to pay for the film licensing and equipment because they're not partnering with the LA film. Beeman Park is not going to take care of that anymore, but they would still like to host the event on Wednesday and also in the spring and in the summer. If after talking about it, we decide that we do want to, this is something that we would like to do, then in terms of the cultural affairs, the committee, we can collaborate with providing packaged snacks, soft drinks, maybe arts and crafts for children. And Karen she has wonderful ideas about cultural and art gallery, maybe. For the June event, it will be something similar. As the committee, we can collaborate with providing packaged snacks for the children and the family, soft drinks, arts and crafts for the children. Also maybe inviting an LAPD officer to briefly talk about safety, because in June, it's also a safety month. Maybe I was thinking that we should or could hire a musician in June, since it's also Black music celebration. I don't know, I was thinking maybe jazz, and maybe there may be other ideas. So for each event, the spring and the summer, Beeman Park is asking Studio City Neighborhood Council to consider covering the cost for 6 additional staff members. Each additional staff members are only to help with screening. There is a park fee for $100, and that is for a guest from 100 up to 150. And this is due to COVID. Beeman Park, meaning the Department of Operations Center is the one that approves the application for up to 150 people. And just the cost projection for the spring park fee, it's 100. Film and licensing and equipment, it will be roughly about $400. Soft drinks, snacks, arts and crafts. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything else. Please let me know. Additional expenses with the additional staff for 6 hours, only to help with screening. The budget, the approximate cost, it will be $2,000, $2,080 for the spring event. Summer event, the price, it's $100 for the park fee, $400 for licensing and equipment, $400 for musician, 2 hours. I talked to a couple of musicians just to find out a little bit about how they they work, and it's a 2-hour minimum, especially on the weekends. About $300 for soft drinks, snacks, arts and crafts for children, and $684 for staff members for 6 hours only to help with screening. So the budget comes roughly $2,484. So what does the Studio City Neighborhood Board Cultural Affairs Committee think about hosting an event at Beekman Park in April and or June? Do you have any thoughts, suggestions, ideas? Yes, no?
So I was a little short on, I probably should have held out for the whole 5 minutes on the public comment. So we'll go back to that. I think Jules had her hand up first. If you can stay on topic, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Monroy Cantor. I'm actually the recreation coordinator at Studio City Rec Center, also known as Beekman Park. So I want to do like some clarification on the presentation that Abby just did. So I don't know if it's done during the public comments or if I could do it now.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I had mentioned to her that in the past this will be the first event that we will be doing with cultural affairs. We have done all of the events in partnership with the neighborhood council through outreach committee. So this will be the first one being done with cultural affairs. I had mentioned, as she had said in her presentation, which was awesome. Thank you, Abby, for also bringing the map of the that we had presented to you that has the different areas where we will have like little cohorts for the families that would, come and see the movie at the park. We have a number of events throughout the year. One of them is our spring and egg hunt, and we have a movie. Due to COVID, we've had to cancel a lot of our events. So we're not planning an egg hunt this year. What we are planning is movies at the park, which we'd hope that the neighborhood council will participate in. And then what we have at the summer is summer movies. We have one in June, one in July, and one of August. So she mentioned the one in June with possibility of the 18th or the 25th. In the past, we have partnered with our council office, Mr. Krikorian's office, in addition with Film LA. Per my several emails going back and forth with Film LA, they are no longer doing any type of partnerships with any organizations due to COVID and budget constraints. And they would like for us to follow up and to see if there's a possibility of maybe having something in the fall, which obviously it affects the event that we will have now. So in the budget that I included and information that I sent to Abby this afternoon, included the licensing fees, roughly what it would be. Having said that, neighborhood council will not pay for everything. Those would be the cost of having the event. Mm-hmm. So the staff is not 6 additional staff just for the movie screening. It will be 6 staff in addition to full-time staff to help out with the movie screening and any other type of arts and craft or other activities that the neighborhood council would like to have. I had explained to her that usually when we do movie screenings, it's just specifically that, just the movie screening. We have partnered with other nonprofit organizations where they will either come and distribute trees through, I'm forgetting now the name of the organization that we have worked with, but I know the neighborhood council has worked with them as well, or Metro to come and distribute information about the services that they have. In other organizations. So we've done those type of events, but not necessarily like full-on arts and crafts, unless it's something that has been related to the movies. The movie has not been chosen yet. We have thought about maybe having something like Encanto, which is a new film by Disney, if it is available in the springtime. And if it is the case, maybe, we could do some arts and craft related to that, and we could have staff help out with that. But the total number of staff will be 2 full-timers and 6 part-time staff, it would not be in addition to what we already have, if that makes any sense.
Okay, can we go back on and clarify the costs?
Sure.
Yeah,
1 second, let me share the screen.
Right, so those fees that you have there, the $100 fee, it's not charged because it's an event that the
Oh,
park
okay.
is having
Mhm.
in partnership with the neighborhood council. That's not a fee that will be included. That would be only if the neighborhood council, and that I think picnic fee was given back to, I think it was you, Karen, when we had like gone back and forth, when you had requested like a picnic
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
the, to host something at the park. So this is different. And
Okay.
if it was something that the neighborhood council was doing separately, it wouldn't be 100, it would be something else.
Okay.
But so, yeah, that fee will not be included. The licensing and equipment, I had mentioned to Abby that we have a great partnership with Anthology Church, who has allowed us in the past to utilize their screening equipment. I don't see a problem with that. I've already sent an email to the pastor and I'm waiting to hear back
Oh,
from them. I have
okay.
already also reached out to the new council office to see if that's a possibility, but due to COVID,
COVID.
staff testing positive in their office, like
Oh,
we had to cancel our meetings and have not been able to do a follow-up meeting, unfortunately. But hopefully in the coming days, if not week, I'll have information whether they will allow us to use their equipment. Let's see. So the
So
staff
Can I
fees
ask
is
one
accurate.
question while this slide is up?
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, what are 6 staff members doing to help with screening when are they just running the projector? Is that it? I don't get that. With a screen that's facing to the west so the sun can shine on it.
So when we have utilized the equipment from the council office, it's a blow up screen. So they are the ones that are bringing all the equipment. And that is the number of staff that I have utilized for all this film screenings that we've had for the last 10 years at the park.
So are the staff costs shared or how does that work?
So I had mentioned to Abby when we met that Studio City Recreation Center is a direct cost recovery center, which means that we don't have subsidies to pay for staff.
Okay.
In the past, the neighborhood council has paid for staff fees for the events that we've had. And that's what I shared with her.
Okay. So we may not have to pay the 400 for the film and licensing, is that? Or maybe half of that? Is that what you're thinking?
Well, I am hoping that the council office will help us pay for that because I know that they have funds that are for outreach and hopefully they could do that. If not, then the park will pay for it.
Oh, okay.
I think Universal and Disney have also donated that in the past, and nobody's
Oh,
paid
nice.
anything.
Nice. Okay.
They did do that at the beginning when we were doing, when we started the partnership with the neighborhood council. I want to say maybe like 7 years ago when Jurassic Park came out. But we have reached out to them in the past, like 5 screenings that we've had, and they have declined helping us, unfortunately. But if anyone has like a contact that can provide it, I will be more than happy to reach out to them to see if that's something that they will be willing to do. I mean, however we could save money in terms of licensing and equipment, by all means, is welcome. I have no issue in reaching out to or meeting with whomever I need to in order for us to be able to save on costs.
So without that, the spring event comes to 1,584. And
1 second. So do
Yeah.
I add to the budget the 400 or I do not? This is the information that I just got from your email, Julie. So at this point, do I add it or do I delete
I
it?
think there's
Right.
a
In the
general consensus we can get it for free. Yeah,
So we delete it.
we need to get it, but it probably won't cost anything.
Okay.
I would leave it there until we know otherwise.
Okay. Okay. Any more questions about the budget?
And
Um,
600, 1 second, the
I'm
$684.
gonna open it up
that's
to the
the-
board as well.
1 second, Karen. The
Sure.
$684, do I keep it there? That's the budget, that's the number you gave me, Julie, $684 for 6 staff.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
And that's accurate.
That's accurate. So this number
Yes.
is fine.
Yep.
Arts and crafts, I just need a clarification. You also gave me a number of 200 to 300.
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
that's a
something
ball rate. Because you had said that you have done in the past like kids activities, so it all depends on what the board wants to do. That's just a ballpark figure of what type of projects you want to do, what type of how long the activities will last. It's up to, because really, like I said, the arts and crafts is not something that we have done for movie screenings. When we have done movie screenings, it's just the movie. And we distribute like free popcorn to the public, but obviously due to COVID, this time we're not doing that.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Richard, did you
Well,
want to say
we
something?
can do
Oh,
the popcorn if we want out of
yeah,
our snacks.
But it
And,
has,
and the arts
But
and
it's
crafts
COVID.
money,
yeah,
the kids have got to, it's got to be something individual families of
Mhm.
kids can do in their circle. It can't be like a group activity at tables. It's got to be in their circle.
okay.
correct. And one of the reasons I think it's a little more costly is because everything has to be pre-packaged and as you had said,
Separate.
specifically for the little cohorts of families that will be coming to the event.
Okay, so do we want, as a board, do we want arts and crafts or we don't want it?
I guess,
Keep it
I
or
don't,
leave
I
it?
don't
Well,
know.
it's
Let's wait a
something for the,
minute.
it's something
Yeah.
for kids to do for 2
Yeah,
hours. So
totally.
it's not a
That's what I
bad
was-
thing. It's,
Yeah,
as long as it's not arts and crafts that involves co-mingling.
yeah.
Thinking about something with stickers, like something easy for them, like little, I don't know, something.
I have
that's
stickers.
not-
Yeah, a lot of,
I didn't really, arts and crafts could be anything.
okay.
Of course, it could be painting, it could be drawing, but I was thinking something that it's just for them, for the children to have and
Cool.
to put on. So do we keep it or do we
Let's keep it for now.
keep it
Yeah.
for now? Okay, so the.
Richard, did you have a comment? Richard? He's got his hand up. Brandon, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a question. Who covers the insurance for a staged event? Would there be insurance? Is it just the city of is it LA Parks? Is there a standard set, or do we have to pay additional insurance for having a specific event that we are co-hosting?
Both the neighborhood council and recreation and parks have insurance, so we would not need additional insurance to my knowledge, but I can follow up and give that information to Abby or Karen.
Cool. Insurance. Yeah.
Can I mention 2 other things?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are we interested in getting support money-wise from Council Member Rahman? Like, Krikorian has paid for money for these in the past. So just
Okay.
one thought there. And again, I mentioned it before, on your map, the screen is facing west, which is not a good thing, particularly in June at 8 o'clock. The sun is still going to be shining,
Mhm.
and it'll be shining on that screen probably.
Can I answer that question? I'm not part of the board, but I will
Yeah,
reach,
you
I
can.
had said that, I had said earlier that we will be reaching out to the new council office, Council District 4, to see if they can help offset the cost of the licensing for the movie, as well as if we are able to utilize their screening equipment.
Just to mention something really quick, there's about maybe 2 or 3 dozen general funds that the LA City Council loves to tap from time to time. I don't know how many there are. It's always a 100 slash and a number, and they always seem to be tapping into it to plug gaps in the budget where they did not anticipate an expense. If you guys want to approach Nithya Raman's office, this would be a great meet and greet for her, for her new community of Studio City. It would be a good opportunity for her to get out there and meet people. So they may cover most of the cost if they bring it to the city council and try to get the money through there.
And that's something that I have already scheduled to meet with George, who's the new field deputy for her office for
Awesome.
Studio City.
Oh, thank you. Can you
Yes.
address the sun that Barry's talking about, or is the screen movable?
The screen is movable. The reason why we have done it there, we used to do it over by Diamond 2, which is the bottom left corner. We used to have the screen there, but in order for us to do that, we have to have multiple generators for the if the screen is a blow-up screen, and also for the equipment. Whereas if we have it where it is right now, we can run electricity through the batting cages that it's right behind where the screen would be. And that's why the movie begins at 8 p.m. for that's this is the map for the April screening.
Well, 8 will be fine in April, but in June, the sun sets quite a bit after 8. In fact, the 2 dates you're giving are like right in between the longest day of the year.
Yeah, it's summer solstice.
Right. So the main event that I thought we were working on now was the one in the spring. The film in the summer, I gave Abby 2 dates that were possible, but I had mentioned that we have not started working on them because we haven't started working on them. But those are 2 potential days. And I had mentioned that we have a movie in the summer, a movie in June, July, and August. And maybe the outreach committee could help out with this. Like I said, we have done all of our events with them in the past.
Another question really quick, if I may. Do you usually get great turnout from the neighborhood? Because there would be a lot of lights and noise during one night. Do they usually, the families around the surrounding neighborhood, come out mostly for the event?
They do, and it all depends on the movie that we're screening. Obviously now with COVID, it's a little different. I mean, we've just had to postpone a lot of our programs at the park till the end of the month due to the high numbers of positive COVID cases that the city is having. We are hoping that, we're shooting for 150. And the way that we would do this is do like an online reservation system where they could go and reserve a ticket or a cohort area per se. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry. No? Yes?
I guess it's okay.
It
Yeah.
did. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, cool. All right. Is Richard listening? Richard?
Always email if you can't talk, Richard. Leave a chat.
I don't know. I don't think we have chat.
I have I'm sorry, I have another quick question for Mary, actually. Would there be any arts and crafts that focus on maybe the history of Studio City?
Well, I know like the
Might.
what's its face, the Museum of the San Fernando Valley, they've had some stuff. Because otherwise, I mean, yeah, you'd have to put something together, but if you wanted to put something together like on the Native Americans or like transportation and trains, or farming was a big thing. And so you'd have to figure out if they can't provide some of the like coloring or other things they have, we'd have to put something together. But there's stuff like that that could be done.
Yes, Sarah, yes.
In addition to that, I'm sorry, I'm going to add a little bit. We could always, which we have done in the past, invite the Studio City library, and sometimes they have taken care of little like activities for the kids to do. And they have giveaways as well.
That's nice. That's great. Yeah. Who has giveaways? Who is that?
The library.
Library,
Oh, okay.
so I can reach out to them as well.
Okay. All right. Sounds cool.
Can't believe you guys mentioned trains just after Richard left. That's his thing. So.
Barry, did you have another comment?
I was just going to say, so do we want to vote to send this to the budget committee, which it would have to go to first before going to the board? And
Yeah,
if
I think we
so,
should.
do we want to separate these two or do them as one?
Around 2008,
Hmm.
2009, when we were living in Messina. And then I took a job.
Maybe we just start with spring.
We moved back east. And
I would think it would have to be a February vote since on the agenda it didn't say any possible motion if you want to be by the book. Or we could just have a special meeting to vote specifically on this if Lana's going to have a budget committee meeting in February, we can have an additional cultural affairs meeting specifically for topic number 5 for the vote and making a motion. And then it would just be maybe a 15-20 minute meeting at most.
Why isn't this an official meeting, Brandon?
No.
Oh.
It is an official meeting, but
Uh-huh.
agenda item 5 just says discussion with respect. It doesn't say possible motion.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it's a technicality, but you don't want anybody hitting you on a technicality. So it's easy just to put together a second meeting, super quick, knock it
Okay.
out, send it over to Lana, and get
Okay.
it ready for the meeting.
Sorry, guys.
Does
Oh, it's
someone
quite
have their
all right.
TV on? Because I can hear people talking in the background.
My younger son, 13,
Um,
in March. So,
It's probably my
here at the Ford
husband.
Temple, everybody else is on the,
But I have to be able to speak, so.
So that's just,
I
I have been.
thought he was gonna leave, but he's on a meeting. I could move probably.
So it's been an interesting transition for sure.
There we go.
But, and I can get into more of that later, but,
It'll be quieter over here.
It must be coming from Richard's phone.
No, I think it was me. Yeah, it's usually me, full family. So, okay, that's better, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so, okay, so then, let's see, are there any other comments on this? We'll have a quick budget meeting regarding this.
I would make one more comment.
Sure.
Instead of the approximate cost, instead of 1984, I might, until you actually know,
Mhm.
I might have say an approximation of maybe 1900 to 2200. You don't know exactly how much things are going to cost you for insurance or anything like that, or whether Nithya Raman's office is going to cover most of it. So, well, it doesn't matter anyways because this will come up in another meeting. So
Yeah, we'll prepare it for that meeting.
The other thing we've always done is put not to exceed.
We have an
So if you pick
example.
2,000, not to exceed 2,000.
Okay. We clear, we had the budget for the luminaria, so we can model it after that.
also really quick, I know
Mhm.
we're kind of rambling on here, but the summer event will be very close to the new budget. It's every June, I believe, that the neighborhood council, if I'm not mistaken, this is my first rodeo with the neighborhood council. It's around mid-June, late May, mid-June. The new budget is pushed through. So by the June event, I don't know if it's going to be coming from our current budget 2021, 2022, or it'll be the 2022, 2023 budget? You
Okay.
might want to talk to
It would
Lana
be
about that.
current.
It would be current? Okay.
Yeah. So, you bring up a good point. The motion should probably take care of both of these, because if we don't do that, we're going to run up against the deadline for allocating money for this year's budget. Even if it's like in April or May, it can be problems. So we're probably better off doing a motion for both of these now.
Okay.
And then if we decide to do July and August, that would be in the next fiscal year. And that gives us time to do that if we do two more.
Okay. All right. Any more comments on this? It's amazing. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
I just,
Julie. Yeah.
I'm not needed anymore, right? So I could, would leave the meeting.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
that's fine.
thank you. I was part of a neighborhood council for 10 years. It's always great to see how community members donate their time or devote their time to bring good to the community. So thank you all, and
Thank
thank you,
you.
Abby, for following up and all the information that you needed.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks,
Thank you
Abby.
very much.
Yeah, very cool. Okay. So, let's see. So I can share the agenda. So Abby and I thought, because of COVID, it would be a good idea, instead of just waiting for things to open, to actually do some events on Zoom. And now, we're a week later, but we're running into the end of a January, which was, she pointed out, a month for the arts. And I didn't know that. So when I did the revision on the agenda for this meeting, I made it more local. So I'm going to go ahead and discuss that because it's more imminent. I was thinking the way it would work is just this, it would be this Zoom, and it would be on a Sunday night. I made a graphic, and maybe the model is each one of us introduces an artist that we know, and it could be anything. It could be a musician, it could be anybody that's promoting. I would lean towards people that are promoting art, so or teaching art, I guess, right? So in my situation, I would invite the woman Vicky, who is behind the painted boxes. I guess I don't know if you guys have seen them. They keep popping up. I've seen two now. They're beautiful. She's done a great job of curating them. And that's the business development committee. So I would invite her to promote that program so that more artists, can learn about it. And, Brandon, you're welcome to represent yourself. It's just
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to, actually, but
really, I don't
I'm
know.
a board member, so I don't think I'm allowed to.
You can just educate. We could find out, but anyway, it would be an opportunity, for a friend of yours or something like that. So, and we can open it up to the board as well, to some, if everyone could provide someone that's involved in the arts, and then we would start it at 7:00, and we'll just kind of go with what we've got, and introduce them as we go. Hopefully we should set a deadline like a week ahead of time, so that we can put them in an order that makes sense, that's entertaining for people. But so that would be that. And here is where did I put it? My desk is pretty. I'm going to shut off my screen for a second. Hold on. Arts.
We're going to do a series of events. I could do something in March, because now that the studio has sold, I did it about 5 or 6 years ago, but a history of the studio. So
Oh,
people
yeah.
know, that it was built in 28 with the Max Sennett studio and all that went through, then to Republic, to to Review, then CBS and all that kind of stuff.
What did you just say, Mary? What about that?
You had a program like March is talking about local history, and it's
Oh,
I
yeah.
could do something like on the history of the studio, because it is just sold, and so people can know about its long history, that it was
Oh,
built
yeah.
in 28, one of the first commercial things in Studio City,
And the
and
Republic,
that's where
right?
we got its name, is from the studio,
Yeah,
and
that's a
how
cool
how it
idea.
evolved over the years.
And you were saying that you wanted to do that in March for local
Yeah,
history?
you had local history now.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I love it. Yeah, so that anyway, I bring this to you because we need to get it out there, and hopefully, Brandon, you wouldn't mind if I sent you nice, introductions to the artists that we put together. Yeah, and we can introduce them on Facebook. So we'll, like, I would send this out to the board tonight with what we're proposing, if you're cool with that. You want to go ahead and let me know, maybe we could have a vote on that if you guys are, although we don't have a vote on the agenda. Maybe
Just
yay or nay.
regarding
Yes, go ahead,
regarding the
Barry.
painting of the utility boxes.
Yes.
Some years ago, all the council offices in LA asked their individual neighborhood councils if they wanted to participate in painting those boxes. Our neighborhood council voted no.
Okay.
And one of the reasons was because they get vandalized, and even though the artist promised to fix it if it does, it doesn't always happen, as I've seen in other areas. So the bid went ahead, which is Ventura from Carpenter to Coldwater. They went ahead and did it and didn't know about this vote, and the council office forgot to tell them. So now Vicky's basically painted all of them, but she has, and I brought this to her attention, and she says, well, they're not relying on the artists to fix graffiti.
No.
They have their own fund. So I guess it's okay that they went against what the neighborhood council voted on, so long as they're not going against our wishes that they not be painted because the graffiti wouldn't be taken care of. But yet Vicky is guaranteeing that within the bid area on Ventura. So just know that as of now, the only painting of those boxes is on Ventura, and between Carpenter and Coldwater.
I can speak to that. I've served with Vicky on the Sherman Oaks Chamber Foundation, which their sole job is basically, providing painted boxes in Sherman Oaks. And the graffiti they have it, that the model is that we pay people to take care of the graffiti, and it's an ongoing process. So that's definitely, the graffiti is going to happen, but it will get reported and taken care of, and the box will get restored. And so in some cases it has to be repainted, but it's
but just
it's
know
been
that
working.
we don't have that guarantee outside of the bid.
Okay.
Can I mention something really quick? I don't know how many people you're expecting from this, but right now this is not a webinar. This is actually just regular Zoom meeting portal. The webinar is usually the board meeting, where you have attendee and participant control. Here, there's really no control. It's whoever's on the screen is on the screen. I would ask Randy if it's possible to get the webinar control for this.
Oh, that'd be great.
It wouldn't be 932-8199153. That's specifically for cultural affairs. But ask him. If not,
Okay.
if not, you can run through this. You don't know how many people are going to show up. If a lot
Right.
of people show up, then the next one will be a webinar where we have more control over the occupants.
That'd be
But
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
see what he
Okay.
says.
Okay. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, and I'll put everything. I actually every day I'm putting something up on the Facebook page, so
Cool.
we're getting going on that. And of course, the website.
Yeah.
I'll put this on there too.
Okay, and then, the other events would be similar. So February's Black History Month, March would be local history. April, and of course, if it doesn't say Black, it could still include Black people. And April is about jazz. June, Black music in particular, because lately there's been a lot of attention on the neglection in that area. So I thought we would highlight it. And August is American women artists. Also neglecting, a lot of people don't think they know that there are famous women artists. And then October would be contemporary art movements, which would be fun. And I don't, whoever, we can have whoever do that and put those together on Zoom. Any comments?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I think we can make that work. I just wanted to comment on the last thing because my machine was not working, was that we definitely did borrow all the equipment from the council office. As far as I know, it's still available. They replaced the DVC machine that broke down. The other thing is we got free films from Universal just for asking. And so
Cool.
I want to explain that just get it from Universal, get the stuff from there. Also, I noticed that in the past, the support group for the park was selling concessions. Is this no longer possible, or what's going on?
What was your question about
The
refreshments?
support group for the park was
The support group.
selling concessions. I noticed here, now we're buying them. Is there a reason why this is?
Are we talking about refreshments? I didn't think we were having any.
The thing at the park, not the not the food, not
Right.
the art, the other one, the thing you just talked about that I couldn't talk about. I'm just trying to see, is there a reason why it's that way? Because we have popcorn, we have cotton candy, we have more snow cones than you can possibly imagine. So I'm wondering, do we have to have these kind of budget items or not?
Well, she was saying that because of COVID, it has to be packaged. So you couldn't give a snow cone. You could, if you package cotton candy and popcorn in a bag to hand out, you can do that. But otherwise, because of COVID, you don't want to people coming up and getting food that you have to be served.
Well,
And packaged by the manufacturer, not us.
That's true.
Yeah,
Just wondering what the rules will be at the time of these events.
right.
Um,
We'll keep the budget just in case, though. So, any other comments?
By the way, also in using
Brandon?
the city facilities, they did not require insurance for using Campo de Cuenca. Metro, the parking lot, wanted insurance, but the actual city did not want insurance using their park.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Brandon?
Yeah, on the second part right here, we have February Black History and March Local History. Mary can correct me if I'm wrong. I've read this a couple places where Station 78 was the first racially integrated fire station in the city of Los Angeles. And when they came here, they didn't really know the terrain very well, and the media really blasted them. But it is a unique event for Studio City. Am I correct on that, Mary, that 78 was the first racially integrated fire station in the city?
I'm not sure about that. So
There were fire stations. There were engines that were all black,
Wow,
but
cool.
this is the first one where engines were white and
black.
Well, we could
Richard,
certainly do
was
Black
that,
local
Richard?
history. Yeah.
Richard, am I correct on that?
So Station 30 was all black.
Right, but 78 was
Now,
integrated.
Museum.
Yes.
Oh, Station 30 was.
Yeah,
all
they're
black.
yeah,
Wow.
but they're the starts with an
That's
S.
cool.
It's an S.
Yeah.
The Stenlers or Stenlins or whatever it's called.
Then
But 78 was supposed to be the first mix. But that would be something interesting for February, and then we can work with
Yeah.
Engine 78 and the
Mhm.
LAFD and have them and bring them on, and it would be an interesting little thing if
There
it's
is
Yeah.
LA, that's yeah, there's a fire museum, well, if it's, there at Cahuenga, so I don't know if they have anyone who could do a
27.
presentation. There is that fire museum.
Yeah, 27 is the museum in Hollywood, and 30 is the one downtown across from the Coca-Cola building.
I
That would
have
be
something
cool.
for Mary for March.
Okay. What is it?
Mary,
Uh-huh.
you probably remember the 75th anniversary of Republic that we
Yes.
did at the
Yes.
Studio Center
Yeah.
when it was 110, but it was a huge success.
Yeah.
And, all the lecturers, I was able to shoot all the lecturers, and
Oh,
Lisa
wow.
Cahan Davis has
Oh,
all
wow.
that video as
That'd be
far as I
amazing.
know. And we could use it to promote March, but you'd have to contact her. But I know she's got the DVD that I made for her. I don't have it, but as far as I know,
Oh, really?
she does. And
Okay.
that's, very historical, particularly regarding the Republic Westerns.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I was
cool.
thinking more of talking about the studio, because as we know, the studio was bought for over $1 billion. And to show its history, to help get people behind preserving because the front part, it dates back to 28. So
Wow.
because there is a possibility, we hope not, but they might want to introduce tearing down stuff to build new things. And if that's the case, we need to fight for those original buildings from 28, which
That'd be
includes the
cool.
administration building, those front studios, a lot of that front part. And with the photos I have, you can see that all those buildings are original.
Yeah, the
So
back.
that was part of
I'm
the
told they want to keep it as a studio since studio space is so needed in our area.
Well, yeah, they want to
So,
keep it as a studio, but they're the same people who tore down virtually all of Culver Studios, and basically all the vintage stuff that survives is like the 1916 main building and a few bungalows and a few things at the front. They tore down most of the historic buildings.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah,
so that's the thing.
we're going to have to keep an eye on them.
That's
Yeah.
why doing this
That's why it'd be
presentation so
good.
people know that those
Yeah.
buildings date back to 28. So
All right. That's the plan, Mary. That's awesome. Sustainability too, right? Okay.
yeah, because the greenest building is the building's already there. You tear stuff down, you have to, tear down other things in the environment, and you pollute at the same time. So
Cool.
Yeah, Gilligan's Island Lagoon is already gone.
Oh, wow.
Also, they had to, originally, the current stage 9, formal stage 1, had a lovely tank in it. And they ran electrical power cords or big conduits through the tank. It'd be nice if you remember what it used to be.
Question.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Is there anything out there, and Mary would know this, and probably Richard and Barry as well, if I'm walking around Studio City, is there any book, any document that shows where famous movies were shot? Because back in the day, there was nothing here, and everything was a big giant lot. So where were things shot? There are areas in downtown where Charlie Chaplin stood here for this movie wherever.
Oh,
There's no
cool.
plaques like that in Studio City, and not a lot. I mean, it would have been more like open country, because
Yeah.
Ventura Boulevard was like Highway 1, so it'd be hard to pick stuff out. MGM filmed up in Fryman Canyon for the silent films.
Oh, cool.
Annie Laurie and
I didn't know that.
shoot, it's the John Gilbert Russian one. The title escapes me. But like Max Sennett, he still loved, they love their original locations. So they filmed some stuff up in North Hollywood, but they mostly kept going to Larchmont, Edendale, and their typical locations. So there's one film that survives, and I think it's up on YouTube right now if it hasn't been pulled, Doubling in the Quickies, where they use the entrances all around the studio. Someone tries to break into the movies. So it's like a fake studio. And so they used all the different gates, and there's like a staged car accident. It's either Guerin or Hoffman. And so you see the street sign. I've seen the stills. So there wasn't a lot here at that time, sadly. I mean, obviously now if you get to Adam 12 and all those kind of things, Columbo, but back in the silent days, I've got some photos, a couple of photos of Annie Laurie and stuff up in Fryman Canyon.
What about Republic and their serials? They would shoot on the Santa Monica Mountains. Where were they?
Yeah, they shot all over in Captain Marvel. There was some stuff on Ventura that would have been like on the south side of Ventura. When they're basically around where the strip mall is, where McDonald's used to be, and Mendocino Farms, and none of those buildings are there anymore. But when you look at it's been a while since I've seen Captain Marvel, but I know they filmed around there. And they filmed a lot on the lot. They and some of the other movies, you can pick out some of the buildings that are supposed, and not even film related, but you get the right building and the right angle. Max Sennett, they filmed on the lot too of what would now be, if you come through the main gate, administration building is here, and like the building over here where there was a big open lawn with the fence, and you can see they filmed a lot there. I know a couple of silent films, and I have some stills where you can see that. But there's no
the
plaques.
Tahitian Terrace restaurant in the Trader Joe's parking lot. The palm trees are still at the front, right next to the sidewalk on Ventura. But what about Joanne Deutsch's book?
Well,
Don't you think it might have some
filmed here? And I've never heard of that, and I don't know of any of that. So I don't know where she got that information.
There's a lot of pictures, I'm happy to say.
The Loved One did film at front what's now Old Can Harry's. It was the Zamba Cafe, and you see the neon sign for Zamba in the film near the beginning. So that was in a movie as well. But I mean, it's mostly when you get to the 70s with all Adam 12, Emergency, Columbo, Rockford Files. They're all over the place. Sportsman's Lodge, Ventura, houses. There's a house that got torn down 12 years ago, just a few blocks from me, that a beautiful Dutch colonial that I saw on an Adam 12. The taco place at Moore Park in Tahunga that's now gone, but that they had a scene there. So that's when a lot of the stuff filmed more here.
Well, maybe
I
something
watch
like that could be in the
filming of
arts
Adam
one.
12 all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I did
I
want
would ride my bike.
That's the kind of stuff that fascinates me.
Mm-hmm.
People.
Well, I had
living
done a
here,
thing
like,
a few years ago at the library. It didn't turn it well. My person who was originally going to edit it then dropped out, and Richard had a friend at the last minute, but because he was at the last minute, it ended up a lot shorter, and it was a lot confusing because I didn't get to see it before I gave it and stuff. And so some of the clips I wanted in there weren't, and he had some other stuff. So it would have to get someone and go back through, because I had found stuff from like Beverly Garland to the Sportsman's Lodge to various streets and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Brandon, I just wanted to say that the Studio City was named by the post office. They wanted a post office. They brought it in. They brought the name with them.
Well, it's because of the
Well, instead of
studio. So
studio.
many people, 50,000 people on a Sunday would drive by to watch construction.
Right.
So that was in the LA Times. And so when the post office came up with the name, it was because it was the studio. Everyone was coming to see the studio.
But didn't Barry, didn't you say that's North Hollywood Post Office, Studio City, or something like that?
All the 9160 blank zip codes are part of North Hollywood, including
Correct.
04. And on the building, which was dedicated when Nixon was president, there's a plaque, but it says Studio City Post Office, and then it says North Hollywood, California, 91604.
Because we were
and
all
in
part
fact-
of North Hollywood. I mean, and those
My-
Post office.
My mom and dad used to get mail that was North Hollywood 91604. There's still stuff I have of theirs that's older than me that says North Hollywood 91604, but of course now it's a Studio City address.
yeah, I'm you go to the LA Times or the city directories up into like the 60s and stuff. It's called North Hollywood. It's very seldom called Studio City. It wasn't really till we get to about the 70s that they started calling the area Studio City.
Yeah, if you remember, long time before you had Somebody's on Third, that restaurant, that was the post office for Studio City.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. That's why all the mailing docks in the back are way up for the trucks. If you look at the back, you'll see why it was a post office.
And if you thought parking is bad now, it was terrible when it was in that building.
True.
Everyone had to park on the street.
Yeah. You couldn't use a Big Five parking lot because there wasn't one.
All right. So that seems like an opening for somebody on the arts, with that kind of
We also
background.
have, we still have the, for lack of better words, it would be the program for our 75th year of Republic, and there's a few pictures in there and more information.
Yeah, well, that would need to be cut down because that was an all-day thing. So you can't do that in an hour and a half presentation. That might be someone would need to cut excerpts out of all of those to do something.
Are you
What do you-
talking about the video?
Yeah, that's what Richard's talking about.
Oh, I was just saying put the video online before the March event so people could look at it before the event if they so desired, or after the event, but not during the event because you're right, it's too long.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, people could talk about it after, right? That'd be cool. All right, let's see. Is there any more discussion about that? We've got a lot of time. Oh, go ahead, Abby. Can I unmute you? You're
Sorry.
mute. There you go.
There, yeah. So if you guys are done, I would like to go back to the budget. So is there something that that you'd like me to do in terms of the budget? The first one was for 1,900, almost 2,000, and the other one was about 2,500. Do you want me to pump up the numbers or like $500 more, $1,000 more?
It seemed like she said that somebody else would pay for the staff.
And I am just very confused because I have an email and she says $684 for the 6 hours for 6 staff members. And in a previous email, I talked to someone else, there was a fee for $100 and I was given the application as well with, now it's $100 less. That's great.
Right.
But everything to me, I got really confused because everything is like, yes, I am asking for this money, but then I don't know. Someone else is gonna pay for it. I'm trying to, I don't know what do you want me to do? Do you want me to save this presentation, this budget?
Yeah.
Do you want me to scratch it
Totally.
out? Do you want me to?
Yeah, we'll talk about it and then we'll propose it at a
Also,
meeting.
almost every event, I was a projectionist. So,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and didn't use one of their people at all.
We can just ask for, you know, what we think we'll need to cover it, and then we don't have to use it, right? It'd be not to exceed, like Barry said.
I think Barry's
Also,
right, if, you know, of doing both, you know, budget both of them, because if we wait for the second one, of how money, what's money's left and all that kind of.
Right.
So for this, for the first one, not to exceed how much? Because for sure, we know it's gonna be about 2,000.
Two,
So we
Okay.
don't want-
2,000 for
Yeah.
that one and 2,500 for the second one.
Oh,
Okay.
that's what I have already. Okay.
Cool.
All right, so, but that's not even, do we have to pay for insurance? That's something that. she
We're gonna
didn't
look
say,
into.
Right?
Yeah.
Insurance, then I would say adding another maybe 500. I don't know how much insurance is.
I don't think it'll be that much.
I think between, it's like she said, between the park, rec and parks and the neighborhood council system, I think we're insured, but you could double check that with Randy.
Okay. So then we shouldn't worry about insurance then.
Well, yeah, well, a couple months ago, again, I was trying to get the insurance cost for Campo de Cuenca, which is the same operation, City of LA Park, you know, and they did not ask for insurance at all for the actual Campo. They probably aren't going to ask insurance for this either. I would hope not.
I think Richard is right.
Okay. So we wanna. So who do we present this to? What are the next steps?
We need to basically set a budget meeting. So Brandon, when do you think that would be possible?
I would get in touch with Lana.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she's going to have a budget meeting in February. I can't imagine why she wouldn't. I guess she only has meetings when she really has to, and I don't know if there's been any meetings so far where a budget has been proposed for something like
Okay.
neighborhood purpose grant or something. But I would get in touch with Lana and
Okay.
see if she could set up a meeting for February. Then I would have a meeting, a short meeting here, where
Mhm.
the only item on the agenda is a motion for this.
Maybe we can do that in a week too.
Yeah,
There's no board meeting,
like I
right?
said, it would just be an additional meeting. You do the 72-hour notice for the public, yada yada, big deal. You can have it just after the board meeting, I suppose, where the slate is clean, and get it to Lana for the February budget meeting. She would have her meeting before the board meeting, of course, and then that would be then it would be sent over to the board meeting for approval.
Would this presentation be to be shown to the board or to Lana, or is there
Good.
something? And if
I would
so,
think
do you want me to
I
add?
think you'd present to Lana. I think you would be there to present it like you're
To the
presenting.
committee.
Okay, is there
Yeah.
anything that you would like me to change?
Can I add one more thing to the park location I see in front of me right now? I think it's still preferable to put them where it was before, against in the lower right corner. We could run a cord, or we're using one of our generators, and because the light thing is important. I know Barry mentioned it basically, but it'll be very bright screen unless we do it at night, where it gets hidden behind those backstops. I would definitely wish that we were projecting toward the lower left corner. We have the cords. We have lots. We have maybe more than 1,000 feet of cord. And we only need about 2.5.
Okay, so project to the left corner.
Yeah, in the left corner, right.
Okay.
But not in the dirt, not in the dirt of the baseball diamond.
Right. If you draw a line between the ends of the screens and make that the screen line, it'll be about right. And then they'll be centered. We can bring the speakers in place, and it will work very nicely. And then
So where do you want the screen? Here, to my, right here,
no,
like right here?
lower left corner.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, right there. And have the people sit
Not
on the
in the dirt, though.
Not in the
No,
dirt.
right here.
Not
in
in
the
the dirt.
Probably a little
here.
higher,
Oops.
and then more to the left. More to the left.
Okay, add something. What do I add something? Oh,
So it would pretty much drop the screen to below all the circles instead of above all the circles.
The only thing is that she pointed out the reason that they moved it is because they need a lot of generators. So I guess,
right here, is this where you want it?
We have generators.
The generator is where the blue circle is? Is that where you want it?
We can put generators anywhere behind the screen. That
okay.
we did before, so nobody would see them.
I thought you meant like say choose would be above and to the left of the
Wait, no, move it.
Well,
It's over. You just
Keep
Yeah,
in mind,
that's it.
for April, it's going to be dark enough.
but
But
June.
just tell me where
So,
where I
yeah.
should stop the circle.
So this is for June. This would be for June. That's good, Abby. I think that's good.
I
Not-
think
yeah, that would be for June. Because the other's fine for April. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
we
Any
have
other
boards and
questions?
we have generators, lots of them.
Okay, so then we need to tell the park that we can provide generators for June. We don't need them in April. Okay. And then I think it's time for like board comments. I don't have the agenda right in front of me. Here we go. Any other anything on your minds? Anything you wanted to talk about tonight for
Well,
the
just
board?
for these events, we still need somebody we choose ahead of time to be the announcer, moderator, whatever you want to call them, basically, as we did before. And so anybody could do it, Mary or Abby or Karen could do it, but somebody should be given that responsibility to learn about the film and to be able to talk about it.
Well, we've
cool.
got time. We've got a few months to figure that out. So
Okay.
So
Like an MC about the film. Okay.
But we still need to choose the film. And who chooses the film? The park or we do?
It sounded like they were trying to get the new Disney film. So I guess that would be a gift from Disney. I don't know. We'll have to talk about that. Yeah. Disney or I think Universal is
Disney
more
has
likely.
donated.
Okay.
Disney has
Cool.
donated to us before.
Yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't, right? So it would be Disney or Universal probably for that.
Yeah, they did. They did thing with Jaws. They brought in a big background of a shark. People stand in front of it and they take pictures.
Oh, that's awesome.
Universal was happy to do that.
That'd be great. Okay.
Who would be talking? Is it the park trying to get the movie? Or are they, because
It sounded like they would. It sounded like the park was willing to go to bat for that.
Because I'll tell you what,
She said she
in
would
her
talk to
email-
anyone.
She
but,
told,
yeah.
she told me in her email that they're not partnering with LA Films. And they
Yeah.
didn't have a budget. And when she got on the call, she said something else. So now I'm confused.
We just ask her if they're gonna go ask Universal or if we are or Disney, and then but it sounded like we are because she said or we could tell her who to call. So that's what she said. We can but we should have a conversation with her about that. Yeah.
Does anyone have a contact for her to contact Disney, or is someone gonna be calling? Who's gonna be calling? We're gonna be placing that call.
I can call Abby. Yeah. Okay. So that's something to do and find out soon. Get that on the agenda. So, okay, so everyone, we're going to do a budget meeting like the same time next Tuesday, very quickly. And yeah, we can, if there's anything else you guys want to talk about, then we can.
I do have something to ask.
Go ahead,
Mary.
Brandon.
Now I'm on a quest
Okay.
because I'm reading I'm reading Curbed, and
Fun.
apparently to open up the Max Sennett Studios in Studio City, they baked the world's largest pie.
Yeah, they did.
And I want to know if there's footage of that.
I will send you my post because she's got some inaccuracies, and then she used some of my information and did not give me credit for
Did
it.
they shoot
Oh,
video?
no.
Not video, obviously. Did they shoot a newsreel for that?
Yeah, well, they did. I don't know where it exists.
Oh.
I have stills of the Goodyear blimp coming. So I have stills of the studio under construction and after it finished, and I had the photo of the Goodyear blimp coming that of my own.
No pie.
But no pie. It was. I mean, there might be something in the newspaper now, but it was. But yeah, they did bake.
Exist at all, or was it just a gag? Did they actually make
No,
a pie?
well, no, there was room. I think they did. I don't know what it would have tasted like as big as it would have been at that time.
Well, they said it was what 15,000 prunes, 300 pounds of prepared flour. Prunes, huh?
Yeah, well, because
Seriously?
yes, that's another thing. Well, the sad thing was, and that's the thing to bring up, it was all farmland before they started building the studio. There were orchards there. And so there are stories about, the last, peaches and apricots and all and pecans being picked before they just went poof to all the trees. So that's part of the sad thing when the studio went up.
Yeah. Mixed.
But so I have a photo. I'll send you my post and then one of my photos showing the Goodyear blimp.
Traffic Officer Johnson in charge of the detail.
Yeah, that'd be fun for
Barry,
Facebook.
was that your great grandfather? Was he a traffic officer? I doubt it. Johnson's such a common name.
One of the interesting things was when it was still a what do you call it?
Studio
Didn't have sound pictures, and the studio was just starting really put the river in. They used to hide power boxes in the stage bushes so they could shoot at the fork of the river and be able to plug in, but the little stage bush would cover up the power boxes. That's from a long time ago. Some of the movies may see a little bit of it, maybe not.
And see, and like all the studios, part of their back lot is those condos over on Colfax. That was like where the western back lot was. So.
And on the north side of those
off.
condos is where I played Little League. There were 3 baseball diamonds where the condos are on Moore Park.
Right.
And they rented it for $1 a year for the Little League to be there.
Wow.
Very cool. Well,
I'm on a quest to find pictures of that pie. I want to see what the world's largest pie in 1928 looked like. It probably wasn't that big.
yeah, like if any, committee members or board members or community members wanted to take some time to talk about the history, right? That we could do that.
So that's why I was saying I could talk about that because I've got photos of my own from under construction when it's wood frame to the Goodyear blimp coming to films that shot there in the 20s and 30s to like 40s. I have a great overhead shot where you can see there's virtually nothing behind it where the freeway is now in like about 40. I've got some photos from the Republic days. So
Cool.
I've done a presentation on it in the past. I mean, literally, this woman stole a lot of the information that I wrote, does not give me credit for in that article.
You're actually.
Well, we're gonna record you doing it, so.
Mary, you're mentioned in this article.
Yeah, but there's other information.
You're talking about the Studio City Radio Hour, which ran Monday through Saturdays from 5:30 p.m.
But she took other stuff and got it wrong in her article.
Don't you
So
hate
I mean,
that?
she's
I
not the
know.
most accurate person in the world.
Oh,
Like,
this
I
is
didn't say
this
that.
Hadley person? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You
That's what you're
called
talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
She other
That's all
posts, she
right.
would get my idea and about 6 months later, use my post to write a post.
Well, people
Yeah.
are like that.
That's
She
pretty
got
bad.
paid for it. Mine was
Oh,
for
the
free.
Studio City Radio Hour, huh? That's kind of a cool idea.
Was a lot of people did
Yeah.
is advertising because Hollywoodland, they had
Ooh,
their own
screen sharing.
Hollywoodland radio orchestra that played
What?
on the radio, had their own radio show, went across country, and they played for Ralph grocery store openings in 24 and 25. And their leader was Al Wesson, who ended up writing the USC fight song. So
Abby, what is this?
Pie.
Oh, the world pie. Oh my God.
Oh
That
my
is
This is the
funny.
pie they're talking about.
Ooh, the
Look on
pumpkin
screen right
pie.
now. That's huge. Look at that thing.
And you also
Pretty yummy. A lot better than prunes.
Heavy as a VW Beetle.
I don't even like pumpkin pie, but I'd eat that over prunes.
I prefer apple pie.
and Mabel Norma had her name on the side of a studio on the studio there, but she never performed there.
yeah, well, because Mac and them, she and Mac had almost gotten married back in the mid-teens and helped really made Mac send it big. And so she had died. But she was having tuberculosis and other problems before they opened, and then died not long after they opened. But so it was a nice way to honor her, and a lot of the the Senate people and stuff came for the grand opening. I have a program from that day as well.
Oh.
Wow, that's so
This
cool.
is the kind of stuff we can promote on Facebook, Instagram.
I know.
Just
It's
reconnect people
exciting.
with, you're not just in
Very
any community.
exciting.
This community has some rich history. You don't know about it. It's like, wow, you take some pride in being in Studio City. This is
And
the
the
kind of stuff I
people.
think people would really go
Yes.
crazy about.
Share a picture of their pies.
I want a picture of the 1928 pie.
Oh, well, now there's a
we
lot of
should-
I want to see what a massive
Picture,
prune pie
it's
looks
huge.
like.
There's a video too. If he had a meeting.
Let's see.
It was a
We
newsreel.
don't
They
have
said
a
they're shooting
meeting
it
for
for
every
a
month,
newsreel.
We could have a food month. It's
Fruit.
like,
No.
see, it goes January, February, March, April. There's no May, June,
Is
and
there?
there's no July, August,
Really?
and there's no September. Yeah, it's just I guess we ran out of but we could do, we can add stuff. So
Huh.
yeah, you guys can think about that.
Prune pie month.
Don't forget December. I'm hoping to put back the
Dominaria.
area.
Yes. Okay, cool. All right. Any other comments from the committee? Any others? Okay. So any closing comments? Abby, welcome to, no. Okay, so,
Barry, you
Oh,
are
Barry.
018, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
I
were
accidentally disconnected myself.
It's quite all right. I don't know if you're here when Karen mentioned next week's meeting specifically for the budget for agenda item 5.
on Tuesday.
I was.
Oh,
you
cool.
were, okay.
Okay. So that's like the main thing, that we'll do. And then I'll ask Randy about getting, setting up what you said, Brandon, about the webcasting, right?
Webinar.
And webinar,
The
thank
webinar
you.
uses for the board meeting, yes.
And
It would just offer you greater control over everything.
And the budget committee is going to need a written proposal for them to approve. They have to approve something.
yeah, we need to put together a written proposal, and I'll help you with that, Abby, because I'll send you the examples of what we did for Luminaria, and then I will reach out to the park about the movie and what to do next on that.
You want to check on 2 movies for the one in April and the one possibility for the one in June.
Okay. Okay, and then I was thinking maybe Brandon and Barry could reach out to the new council just to say that we're gonna be involved, and like you said, Brandon, maybe she could start thinking about, a meet and greet for that.
they would be like, do you want to
Cool.
escape
And then just you guys start thinking about what you want in those Zoom meetings. And I'll get the January one set up as soon as I can so that we can share that.
Once we know what movies we have or that they can be donated, then I can think about some the arts and crafts that are just for the individual families.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like, she had mentioned it in Kanto, and so that would be like, Latin American, Central American type of things and that kind of stuff. If we do that,
Mhm.
Disney
What's the name of that movie again?
Encanto.
Encanto. Okay. Okay.
Universal has given us new movies before. It's not all the old ones. The old ones they have plenty of.
Yeah,
But
that would be fun.
we gave them about 8 years ago. They gave us a brand new one. I forget which one it was, but it was new.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody. This was a fun meeting and there's lots to look forward to and we'll be in touch. I'll send out a summary tonight so that everybody has it. Okay. Take care. Thank you.
bye.
Bye.